Alright, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and while we wait for the remake of Resident Evil 2, I found some Resident Evil games online that I thought were really cool. So let's have a look. This is a Russian-made demo for the Sega Mega Drive, complete with usable inventory, somewhat interactive environments, and even to a small degree, lighting effects. There are only 4 rooms to explore in the demo, with Jill refusing to climb upstairs or use certain doors. There's also only one zombie, resulting in a pretty short playthrough, but the isometric viewpoint can be a bit weird to work out, but it is in no means game-breaking. The downsides of this demo are the lack of sound, the lack of animation, and the one zombie that does not move or attack. Despite this, I think this game has massive potential to live up to fan expectations. I like the red rum written on the bathroom wall and the look of the game. It looks like the game is still being worked on, complete with animations and puzzle elements that you would expect with the Resident Evil series. The file system is featured in this demo, and part of the game is unlocked by using a paperclip as a lockpick. I have added a link down below to a video of an updated version uploaded by John Riggs, who has a pretty cool channel, playing the game as Chris Redfield as a playable character, as well as multiple zombies with exploding heads, more rooms, and a walking animation. It looks a bit clunky, but I'm going to keep tabs on this game, see how it works out. Moving on to the second game. After Resident Evil's success on the PlayStation, Capcom tried to port the original Resident Evil game to a number of different consoles, including the Game Boy Color. This port was made by Hot Gen Studios, known for a terrible GameCube Batman game and Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine on the Game Boy Color. This port does its best to recreate the introduction sequence and the camera angles modelled on the original PlayStation game, although trying to get a game known for its full motion video onto a platform that could only display 56 colours simultaneously is a big ask. Even the controls were modelled after the original PlayStation game. The left and right buttons rotate your character, and the up and down directions move your characters backwards and forwards. There are 2 versions of this game, Cartridge 1 and Cartridge 2. The older version, Cartridge 2, is featured in this video, and is a lot more buggy than Cartridge 1. Both versions aren't finished, and as an officially cancelled Capcom product, we are lucky to have these 2 versions. However, I did find that these ROMs were released due to a crowdfunding effort by a website, Assembler Games, in early 2012. The graphics look good for a Game Boy Color game. The characters are clearly defined, and the animation is rather smooth. However, at certain points, the limitations of the Game Boy Color show up by the bizarre and garish color palette from time to time. The music is creepy enough to belong in any survival horror game, but the gunshots do sound a bit tinny. All in all though, given the limitations of the Game Boy Color, this is ambitious. The developers squeeze almost a whole PlayStation game onto a Game Boy Color cartridge, and while it's not a definitive Resident Evil 1 experience, it is something very cool, despite being a bit broken. One of my favourite websites for retro video games is Pack and Sack Dave. He has a whole assortment of homebrews, hacks, and patch games for the NES. It's from this site where I found the Resident Evil remake Biohazard. Check out his site, I've included the link below. This game has the core elements of the first Resident Evil game and tries to make up for any shortcomings due to the nature of 8-bit systems. The animation is nice and fluid, the text boxes help establish the story instead of the one-frame cutscenes found in the Game Boy Color version, and the pickups as shown in the game are these yellow flashing star things, which makes finding these easier, which isn't a bad thing as this game continues the long tradition of being NES difficult, even on easy. The combat system is the thing I can't get a grip on. I'm pretty useless at any game mechanic where you have to press a button in time with whatever is occurring on screen. It's the reason I can't play shit like Kirby's Dream Course or any fucking golf game. You are able to shoot zombies from a small distance, but most of the time I spent playing, due to ammo pickups being scarce, I face zombies with a knife more often than using a gun. The music in the game is what you'd expect from an 8-bit game. It's a bit jarring, although I'm not 100% sure it fits with the game. It's not the worst 8-bit soundtrack you've ever heard, but it's also not in the same league as the Moon stage in DuckTales. But being a full, complete game, and also being free from Pack and Sack Dave website, Resident Evil fans should definitely take some time to check this game out.